Welcome back to our series on The Catcher in the Rye by J.D. Salinger. In this video, we'll be diving deeper into Chapter 2, which is a pivotal chapter in the novel. This chapter is a turning point for Holden Caulfield, as he begins to confront some of the most challenging and complex aspects of his personality and worldview. Chapter 2 picks up immediately after Holden's expulsion from Pencey Prep. He decides to leave the school and spend a few days in New York City before returning home for Christmas. He takes a train to New York and checks into the Edmond Hotel, a seedy establishment that caters to a rougher clientele. Holden is looking for a way to pass the time, so he decides to visit a nightclub in the city. He feels out of place among the older patrons, and his attempts to order a drink fail. He strikes up a conversation with a girl, Lillian Simmons, whom he knows from a previous summer in Maine. Although Holden doesn't particularly like Lillian, he decides to join her and her date for a table. Holden's interactions with Lillian and her date reveal a great deal about his character. He is often sarcastic and dismissive, particularly when it comes to the people he perceives as phonies. At the same time, he is lonely and looking for connection, which leads him to cling to even the most tenuous of relationships. After leaving the nightclub, Holden returns to his hotel room and begins to reflect on his experiences at Pencey and his own feelings of alienation and despair. He tries to call an old friend, Sally Hayes, but the conversation is awkward and unsatisfying. Holden's musings are interrupted by a knock at the door. It turns out to be Morris, the elevator operator at the hotel, who offers to send up a prostitute to Holden's room. Holden is initially reluctant, but eventually agrees to pay for the girl's services. The arrival of the prostitute, Sunny, marks a turning point in the chapter and in the novel as a whole. Holden is deeply uncomfortable with the situation and struggles to connect with Sunny, who seems both naive and hardened by her experiences. He eventually changes his mind and tells her he isn't interested in having sex, but Morris demands that he pay the full price anyway. Holden's encounter with Sunny leaves him feeling even more isolated and depressed than before. Throughout the chapter, Salinger explores some of the most complex and challenging aspects of Holden's character. Holden is deeply troubled, and his struggles to connect with others and to find meaning and purpose in life are at the heart of the novel. One of the most striking aspects of Holden's character is his deep-seated cynicism and mistrust of the world around him. He sees the people he encounters as phonies, and struggles to find anyone he can relate to on a genuine level. This cynicism is evident in his interactions with Lillian, who he sees as shallow and insincere, and in his conversation with Sally, which is marked by awkwardness and a sense of distance. Holden's encounter with Sunny is perhaps the most significant moment in the chapter, as it marks a decisive break from the world he has known up to this point. For Holden, the experience is deeply uncomfortable and unsettling. He is unable to connect with Sunny, who seems both naive and hardened by her experiences. At the same time, he is unable to extricate himself from the situation, and he ultimately pays the full price for her services despite not having sex with her. This encounter with Sunny marks the beginning of Holden's descent into deeper despair and isolation. Chapter 2 of The Catcher in the Rye is a pivotal chapter in the novel, as it marks a turning point for Holden Caulfield. Throughout the chapter, Salinger explores some of the most complex and challenging aspects of Holden's character, including his deep-seated cynicism and mistrust of the world around him. Holden's encounter with Sunny is perhaps the most significant moment in the chapter, as it marks a decisive break from the world he has known up to this point. The experience is deeply uncomfortable and unsettling for him, leaving him feeling even more isolated and depressed than before. As we move forward in the novel, we'll see how Holden struggles to connect with others and to find meaning and purpose in life deepen, leading him down a path of increasing despair and alienation. Chapter 2 is just the beginning of Holden's journey, and it sets the stage for the themes and conflicts that will come to define the novel as a whole. Thank you for joining me for this deep dive into Chapter 2 of The Catcher in the Rye. Join me next time as we continue our exploration of this classic novel.